Ethan, are you nervous? Riley's grin stretched across the terrace, his eyes darting between me and the sparkling city lights below. Nervous? Maybe a little. Excited? Absolutely. I swallowed hard, adjusting the cuff of my suit. Tonight's going to be perfect. You've rehearsed this 1,000 times, man. Don't mess it up now. Riley elbowed me lightly, laughing. I know, I said, forcing a smile. But even as I spoke, my mind raced. Amara Bennett. My fiancée, my world, my future. Everything I wanted was in that smile, that confident stride, that clever, unstoppable mind. She's coming. Riley's voice dropped and I straightened, heart hammering. Amara appeared at the terrace door, her blonde hair catching the light, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor. Ethan, she said, her eyes bright as she approached. You've been acting weird all day. Nervous? Maybe a little, I admitted, my voice trembling in excitement. But mostly, I just can't wait to see you. She laughed, that melodic sound I'd fallen in love with years ago. Careful, Parker. You're starting to sound like a cheesy movie lead. Maybe I like cheesy, I said, taking her hand. I've got a question, Amara, and it's been sitting in my chest for weeks. She raised an eyebrow. Oh. Yes, I said, kneeling before her as my heart threatened to burst. Amara Bennett, will you marry me? Her eyes widened and I felt every second stretch like an eternity. Ethan, she whispered, hands flying to her mouth. Say yes, Amara. Say yes. Of course, yes, she cried. The applause of our friends and family rang out as she threw her arms around me, laughter and tears mingling. Damn it, man, Riley muttered, shaking his head with a grin. I told you it's perfect. It is perfect, I agreed, spinning Amara around once before holding her close. I'm the luckiest man alive. Lucky doesn't even cover it, she said, pressing her forehead to mine. Ethan. I smiled, though a tiny, fleeting worry flickered across my chest. Her phone buzzed on the table and she glanced at it quickly, typing something and slipping it back into her purse. Everything okay? I asked. She looked up, brushing it off with a casual shrug. Yeah, just work stuff. Nothing to worry about. I nodded, letting the unease slip away. I wanted to trust her completely. I had to. Riley, can you believe this? I whispered as we joined the others, still buzzing with excitement. I can, he said. But man, you're walking into a life-changing adventure. Hope you're ready. I am, I said firmly, though I caught Amara staring at something on her phone again. I forced my mind back to the joy, the love, the laughter surrounding me. Later, as we celebrated, Riley leaned in. You really think she's hiding something? Hiding something? I laughed, shaking my head. No way. She's perfect. Smart, ambitious, kind, she's everything. Riley frowned, unconvinced. Just saying, sometimes the perfect ones have layers you don't see. I'm sure it's nothing, I said, brushing off the thought. My fingers found Amara's again, her warmth grounding me. Tonight I'm on top of the world. I smiled at her and she smiled back, bright and dazzling, completely unaware of my fleeting doubt. For a moment, everything was magical. And yet, a tiny whisper of unease lingered, quiet as a shadow in the corners of my happiness. But I shook it off. Tonight nothing else mattered. I had her and I had hope. That was enough. Ethan, can you believe we have to choose between 12 cake flavors? Amara twirled a pen in her fingers, brows furrowed as if the world's weight rested on our wedding dessert. I guess chocolate and vanilla are safe, I said, laughing nervously. But 12? That's insane. It's not insane, it's sophistication, she said, eyes sparkling. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at it quickly and smiled, typing a few words before sliding it back into her purse. You've been on your phone a lot today, I said gently. Everything okay? She looked up, tilting her head, her charm switching on like a light. Everything's fine, Ethan. Just wedding emails, nothing personal. I forced a laugh, brushing off the unease in my chest. Okay, just checking. Later, as we walked through the event hall, she paused, staring at the floral arrangements. Do you like lilies or roses? Lilies, I said immediately. They're simple, elegant. She smiled but didn't respond. Instead, her phone buzzed again. This time, I noticed her fingers hover over it before she finally picked it up. Sorry, Ethan, she said, her voice light. It's work. Quick reply. I nodded, trying not to feel the prickling doubt. But Riley's words echoed in my mind. Sometimes the perfect ones have layers you don't see. Later that afternoon, Riley called. You okay, man? Yeah, why? I asked, a bit defensive. Just, you seem distracted. You sure she's not hiding anything? Hiding anything? Come on, Riley. That's crazy, I said. Amara's just busy, stressed with the planning. Yeah, maybe, he said, voice hesitant. Just keep your eyes open. I sighed, trying to shake the worry. But when Amara leaned over to whisper something about table settings, her perfume close and intoxicating, I felt a sting of doubt. She was so perfect, so magnetic, yet something felt off. That evening we met Lucas Hunter, our wedding planner. Ethan, Amara, welcome. I've got some ideas you're going to love, he said, extending a hand. I shook it, but couldn't ignore the intensity in his gaze toward Amara. He smiled, a little too long, a little too attentive. Lucas, Ethan's already helped me pick the venue, Amara said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. You'll just guide me through flowers, seating? Lucas nodded but didn't break eye contact with her. Of course. I just want everything to be perfect for you too. I smiled, but inside a small alarm bell rang. Too perfect? Too eager? As we toured the hall, Amara's attention kept flicking to her phone. She laughed at messages, tapped replies, and smiled faintly at things I couldn't see. Everything okay? I asked, forcing casualness. Yeah, she said, her tone smooth, dismissive. Just a few messages from work. Nothing important. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But Lucas's glances, Amara's secretive habits. They gnawed at my trust. Ethan, don't be so serious, Amara said suddenly, taking my hand. I promise, everything's fine. You're imagining things. Maybe I am, I said, though my heart felt heavy. Later, Riley met me for coffee. Lucas Hunter, huh? He said, raising an eyebrow. You notice anything off? I don't know, I admitted, running a hand through my hair. He's attentive. But Amara seems fine with him. Yeah, that's the problem, Riley said quietly. Sometimes people notice things before you do. Just keep your guard up. I can't even. I love her, I said, frustration tightening my chest. I don't want to doubt her. But every time she looks at that phone I feel something. Riley nodded, silent for a moment. Trust your gut, Ethan. But don't let paranoia ruin you either. Just watch carefully. Back home, Amara curled up on the couch, phone buzzing beside her. I know I've been distant, she said softly. I just stress wedding planning. I'm not ignoring you. I know, I said, leaning down to kiss her forehead. I just want us to be open. She smiled, brushing a hand over my cheek. We are. Trust me. I nodded, though the unease lingered, subtle but persistent. I wanted to trust her. I needed to. But something about Lucas Hunter, the messages, the moment she drifted away, it whispered doubt I couldn't shake. As I lay in bed that night, listening to the city hum outside our window, I couldn't stop thinking. Maybe perfection is just a beautiful mask. And maybe, just maybe, the cracks are starting to show. I thought it was just another late night in the office, the kind Amara said she had to attend for work. But when I walked past the glass conference room, I froze. Her laugh, soft, intimate, hit me first. Not a work laugh, not the casual smile she gave me. It was different. My chest tightened as I leaned closer, trying not to make a sound. I told you I can't wait to see you again, Amara said. Soon, a man's voice replied. Come. Confident. Too familiar. I squinted through the glass. Lucas Hunter. My stomach turned cold. My wedding planner. My fiancée's supposed professional ally. Amara. I heard her sigh. It's complicated. But I need you and you need me. Right. The word stabbed me. Me. My Amara, my future, speaking like this to him? I stepped back, heart hammering, mind screaming. I couldn't breathe. Every image I'd built of our life, our perfect future, crumbled in seconds. The next day I confronted her. Amara, we need to talk, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked up from her laptop, her perfect composure intact. About what? Don't play dumb, I snapped. I saw you with Lucas. I heard you. Her eyes flickered. Annoyance first, then something I didn't recognize. Saw me? Ethan, you're imagining things. Lucas is just helping with the wedding. Helping with the wedding? I repeated, voice cracking. Laughing like that, whispering, you called him, need. Amara, what the hell is going on? Her lips pressed into a thin line. Ethan, I can explain. Explain? You think you can explain this away? You think words can fix this? My hand shook. Everything I believed, every promise, every word, lies? It's not lies, she said, her tone sharp, defensive. You're overreacting. I never. Ethan, you're imagining betrayal. Stop twisting things. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Imagining betrayal? I saw you, Amara. I didn't imagine a thing. You're being dramatic, she snapped. I have needs, Ethan. Needs you can't always fulfill. Don't make this into something it's not. Needs? I repeated, disbelief and rage burning together. I'm your fiancé, your partner. I trusted you completely. She shrugged, coldly elegant. Trust is earned, Ethan. Maybe you didn't earn enough. Maybe you were too predictable, too safe. I need more. I stared at her, speechless, my vision blurring. Everything, our laughter, our proposal, our plans, suddenly felt hollow. Sophia Evans appeared at the doorway, sensing the tension immediately. Ethan. Amara, is everything okay? Her eyes narrowed as she noticed my clenched fists. Fine, Amara said quickly, voice sugary as if nothing had happened. Just wedding stress. Nothing for you to worry about. I wanted to tell her everything, to scream, to make the world hear the betrayal. But Sophia's presence reminded me of control, of restraint. I took a breath. Amara, I said quietly, my tone now cold, measured. I will not let this go. You underestimate me if you think I'll just forgive and forget. She arched an eyebrow, her usual arrogance shining through. Oh, Ethan, you think you can control me? Or punish me? Maybe not control, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. But I can respond. And you will not break me. Not ever. Not like this. Sophia watched silently, her gaze flicking between us. She didn't say a word, but I could feel her understanding. She had seen the cracks forming long before I did. You don't understand me, Amara said, her tone softer now but still laced with condescension. You never could. Maybe that's why this hurts so much for you. Maybe, I said, keeping my voice calm. Or maybe I just finally see you for who you really are. Amara's smile twisted slightly, sharp and unsettling. So, what now? I looked at her, at the confident, untouchable woman I thought I knew, and felt something solid form inside me. Rage, yes. Betrayal, absolutely. But also a clarity. Now, I said slowly, each word deliberate, I watch. I wait. And I make sure you never underestimate me again. She tilted her head, trying to read my expression. I didn't give her the satisfaction. I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there, her smile faltering. Sophia came beside me as we stepped into the hall. You okay? She asked quietly. I will be, I said, shoulders straightening. I just need to think. But one thing's certain, I won't let her break me. And in that moment, as the echo of my own heartbeat filled the room, I made my first real choice. I would survive this. I would rise. And she would see that the man she betrayed was not weak. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the engagement ring still on my finger. It gleamed in the dim light, a cruel reminder of everything I thought I had. Every promise, every smile, every whispered forever, shattered. How could she? Amara, the woman I trusted with my entire life, with Lucas. My chest ached, rage and sorrow twisting together. I ran my hands through my hair. Should I confront her again? Expose her? Or just disappear? My thoughts raced, spiraling into anger and self-loathing. Riley's voice broke the silence over the phone. Ethan? You there, man? I'm here, I said, voice tight, raw. You sound like hell, he said bluntly. I take it you found out. I saw them, Riley. Laughing, whispering. She didn't even care if anyone knew. My Amara with him. Yeah, he said quietly. I'm sorry, man. That's brutal. Brutal? I laughed bitterly. It's devastating, Riley. Everything I believed in, gone. And that ring? I held up my hand, glinting metal in the light. It's like a weight on my finger, reminding me I was a fool. Look, Riley said, voice firm, grounding. You've got two choices. Crumble into this, let her win, or rise. You're better than this mess, Ethan. You know it. I pressed my face into my hands. I loved her, Riley. I trusted her. And now I don't know if I can trust myself to feel anything again. Trust yourself, he said. Don't let her destroy that. You're stronger than this heartbreak. You can turn it into, I don't know, fuel. Something that makes her regret underestimating you. I pulled back, staring at the ring again. Memories of our first proposal flooded in, the way her eyes lit up, her laughter ringing like music. It was almost unbearable. My fingers tightened around the band. I can't undo the past, but I don't have to stay broken. What if I confront her? I asked, voice trembling. But not just yell or cry, make her see I'm not weak. Make her pay for underestimating me. Then you do it smart, Riley said. Control the narrative. Not in rage but calculated. You're not powerless, Ethan. Not ever. I leaned back against the wall, knees drawn up. Calculated. That's right. I can't let this destroy me. A memory surfaced, her whispering in the moonlight, promising she'd never leave, promising forever. I shivered. That forever was a lie. But the fire it ignited in me, that's real. I whispered to myself, low and deliberate. I won't let her break me. I'll take this heartbreak, this betrayal, and turn it into strength. Riley's voice broke through again. Ethan? You still there? I'm here, I said, finally letting some resolve creep into my voice. I've been thinking. She thinks she can humiliate me, make me crumble. She's wrong. Dead wrong. And she'll find out. That's my man, Riley said, relief mixed with pride in his tone. Just don't lose yourself. Channel it. Smart, patient, and unstoppable. That's you. I glanced at the ring one more time. Its sparkle felt different now, not a symbol of love but a reminder of my awakening. Every memory, every hurt, every betrayal. I would use it. I stood, feeling the first stirrings of control return. My hands clenched into fists, then relaxed. This heartbreak wasn't the end. It was the beginning, my chance to rise, to show her that the man she thought she could break was more dangerous than she ever imagined. I exhaled, slow, deliberate. This isn't over, Amara, I whispered. Not by a long shot. And I will make sure you never underestimate me again. Riley's voice echoed one last time before the line went quiet. Good. Now go make your move. Carefully. Smart. Unstoppable. I hung up, staring at the ceiling. The ring glinted back at me, a silent witness to my vow. And for the first time since the discovery, I didn't feel crushed. I felt alive. Alive and ready. I walked into Julian Moore's office, the weight of the past weeks pressing on me, but this time I carried a different energy, controlled, deliberate. Ethan, Julian said, looking up from his desk with a knowing smile. You look like a man with a plan. Or maybe a man with a storm brewing inside. Maybe a little of both, I said, easing into the chair across from him. I need guidance. I need to regain control, personally and professionally. Julian leaned back, steepling his fingers. Control is always about focus, not anger. What's your first move? I'm rebuilding, I said firmly. I can't let personal chaos interfere, but I also can't ignore it. I need to leverage every opportunity, strengthen my position, and observe quietly. That's how I regain power. Julian's eyes gleamed. Exactly. Patience and strategy. Observe your opponent, exploit weaknesses, and keep your allies close. Speaking of allies, he tapped the desk. Do you have anyone helping you? I have a few trusted colleagues, I said. Maya Collins, for one. She's discreet, loyal. She can help me execute small moves without alerting certain people. Good. Execution is everything, Julian said, nodding. Remember, Ethan, the calm, collected man wins where the furious man fails. You've been burned, yes, but don't let that burn define you. I exhaled slowly, letting his words sink in. I've seen her carelessness. The way she underestimates people around her. I intend to let karma unfold, subtle, precise, no unnecessary confrontation. She won't see it coming until it's too late. Julian smiled. Perfect. Subtlety is often the deadliest weapon. Focus your energy on building strength while letting her arrogance work against her. Later, at the office, Maya Collins appeared with a cheerful smile. Morning, Ethan. You look different. Focused. I've had time to think, I said, motioning for her to join me in the conference room. I'm done being reactive. I need quiet power. I need careful observation. And I need your help. Anything, she said. Her eyes were steady, trustworthy. What's the plan? First, I said, we gather information discreetly. Watch patterns, notice mistakes, catch subtle slips. She's careless when she thinks she's untouchable. Every move she makes is a window. Maya nodded. Got it? And professionally? Professional strength is my shield, I said, leaning back. We capitalize on opportunities, present ourselves strategically, and build alliances quietly. Every project, every deal, calculated. No emotion. Just results. And trust me, results speak louder than confrontation. She smiled, a small, knowing grin. I like it. Calm, collected, unstoppable. You're already changing. I have to, I said, voice firm. This betrayal almost broke me, but I won't allow that. Not now. Not ever. That evening, I watched Amara from across the office lounge, her laughter spilling over a phone call with Lucas. carelessness dripping from every gesture. She thought no one noticed, but I did. Every glance, every smile, every dismissive flick of her hair, evidence of her arrogance. She's oblivious, I muttered to myself. Every careless action is a step toward her own downfall. I just need patience. Maya joined me, quietly observing. She really doesn't see us, does she? No, I said softly, eyes fixed on Amara. She doesn't. And that's her mistake. Arrogance makes blind. And blind people leave trails. Maya nodded, her presence reassuring. Then we follow the trail. Quietly. Strategically. Exactly. That was my approach. Quiet power, observation, subtle execution. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger was dangerous, but controlled strength. That was lethal. Julian's words echoed in my mind. Patience and strategy. Observe your opponent, exploit weaknesses, and keep your allies close. I started sketching ideas for small, professional moves that would position me above Amara without raising suspicion. Projects where she could misstep, opportunities she might overlook. Every plan was deliberate, every step calculated. By the end of the day, I felt a surge of clarity I hadn't experienced since the betrayal. Rage had fueled my initial resolve, but strategy and calm would win the war. I wasn't broken. I was transforming. Maya caught my gaze. You're not the same man who walked in here a month ago. No, I admitted, a faint, dangerous smile forming. I'm stronger, sharper. And when the time comes, she'll realize the man she betrayed isn't someone she can manipulate or dismiss. Not anymore. As I left the office, I paused to look at my reflection in the glass wall. Focused eyes stared back at me, calm yet unwavering. The heartbreak had forged something new, discipline, patience, and power. And I intended to use every ounce of it. I sat at my desk with the lights low, staring at the unread messages on my screen. This is where it starts, I whispered to myself, feeling the steady burn of resolve under my ribs. The sadness was still there, but it no longer ruled me. It simply reminded me why I needed to move carefully. I opened Amara's old email thread, the one she used to send to her secret comfort partner, and I thought, I'm not leaking everything. Just enough to let people see her truth. When Riley called, I answered quickly. You sound strangely calm, he said. I am, I replied. Calm is how you win. What are you planning? Small things. Quiet things. Nothing she can trace back. He exhaled. Just don't destroy yourself in the process. I won't, I said. But she needs a taste of what she tried to do to me. After the call, I forwarded one of her flirt-heavy messages to a private industry group chat. Not the part with names. Just enough context that they would question her loyalty. The moment I hit send, I leaned back and whispered, one drop at a time. The next morning at work, I found Maya leaning against my office door. You okay? She asked. I'm functioning, I said with a shrug. That usually means trouble. Maybe. I just need your eyes on something. Discreetly. Maya stepped inside, lowered her voice and said, whatever you need. I showed her a spreadsheet where Amara had manipulated a few numbers to boost her appearance in a quarterly meeting. Nothing illegal, but not honest either. If this ever reached the senior board, I murmured, people would start asking questions. Maya whistled softly. You're playing a smart game. I'm not trying to ruin her, I said. Just letting the truth breathe. Later that afternoon, I watched Amara walk down the hallway, confident as ever, unaware that the air around her had shifted. When she saw me, she gave a stiff smile. You look tired, she said. Long week, I answered calmly. Things catch up eventually. Her eyes narrowed, sensing something she couldn't name. Is there something you want to tell me? Not really, I replied. You'll figure it out. She scoffed and walked away, but I noticed the tension in her shoulders. Good. A mind like hers panics in silence first. Hours later she called. Did you send something? She asked sharply. What would I have sent? Don't play dumb, Jason. People are acting strange around me. Maybe they finally see you. She inhaled angrily. If you're trying to make a point. I don't need to make a point, I said softly. Your actions already did. There was a long pause before she hung up. That evening Julian met me for coffee. So, he said with a grin, I heard someone shook a few trees today. I just opened a window, I murmured. Julian leaned closer. You're not reckless. That's good. But be prepared. People like her don't crumble gracefully. I know, I said. She'll fight when she realizes she's not in control. And how do you feel about that? I hesitated. Satisfied. But also, tired. Revenge feels heavier than I expected. That means you're still human, he said. Walking home afterward, I kept replaying that line in my mind. Still human. I needed to believe that. I didn't want to become the darker version of myself I'd always feared. But then I remembered the engagement ring still sitting in the drawer beside my bed. When I opened it, the metal felt colder than ever. I whispered, "You threw this away." The next day, Amara stormed into my office. "Someone leaked my numbers," she snapped. I raised an eyebrow. "Numbers? Don't pretend." "The board questioned me this morning." "Did they?" I asked. "Maybe they finally noticed the inconsistencies." Her voice cracked. "You're doing this because I hurt you." "I'm doing this because you lied," I said. "And because you thought I'd crawl away quietly." "Jason, please." For a moment, sadness flickered in me again. But it didn't stop me. "This is only the truth," I told her. "Nothing more." She left trembling, and I sat in that silence, feeling a strange mix of triumph and grief. Maya poked her head in minutes later. "She looked wrecked," she whispered. "I don't want her destroyed," I said. "Just accountable." Maya nodded. "You're getting stronger. I can see it." Maybe she was right. That night, as I deleted the last anonymous message I'd planned to send, I realized I didn't need to push further. The truth was enough. My heart still ached, but it no longer drowned me. I whispered to myself, "This isn't the end. It's the shift." And for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. I waited at the rooftop terrace, the city lights stretching beneath us like a glittering sea. My hands tightened around the edge of the railing, but my breath was calm. Riley had warned me, public confrontation could backfire, but I had calculated every detail. Tonight there would be no confusion. No excuses. Amara arrived, heels clicking against the marble, confident as always. Her eyes swept over the terrace, finally landing on me. "Ethan, what is this?" Her voice carried that practiced mixture of charm and authority. "I'm glad you asked," I said, stepping forward, voice steady. "This is the moment where you understand that your game is over." Her brow arched. "Game? Ethan, are you serious?" "Deadly serious," I replied. "I've given you chances. I've watched you lie, cheat, manipulate. And tonight, you see the consequences." Her lips curled in a faint, dismissive smile. "Consequences? What are you talking about?" I gestured toward the glass railing, then pointed at the skyline. "I've never been the naive man you thought I was. Every careless move you made, every secret you hid. I watched. And I acted. Your infidelity is no longer hidden, Amara. People know. And they're deciding how to respond." Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of panic that she quickly tried to hide. You wouldn't dare." "I already did," I said calmly. "Every message, every little slip you left behind has been revealed. Discreetly. Strategically. No chaos, no spectacle. Just the truth. And you underestimated me like you always do." Amara took a step back. This isn't real. "Ethan, you can't." "It's real," I interrupted, letting the words hang in the air. "I'm standing here, calm, collected, in control. And you're exposed. Not to humiliate you, but because your arrogance blinded you." She laughed, sharp and brittle. "So this is your revenge? Public shaming?" "No," I said. "Revenge is for those who are weak. I've transcended that. This is accountability. And it's poetic, isn't it? The person you thought you could break is the one who mastered patience, strategy, and power." Amara's shoulders tensed. "Jason, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I cut her off. "I understand that you believed love was a tool, trust was disposable, and I was predictable. You were wrong on all counts. And now, you see what that costs." Her breath hitched. For the first time, I saw the confident, untouchable woman falter. You think this makes you strong?" "I know it does," I said, voice low, unwavering. "Strong enough to take back everything you tried to steal. Strong enough to reclaim my life. And strong enough to watch you realize too late that I am not the man you thought you could manipulate." Riley appeared behind me, arms crossed, nodding subtly. Julian stepped up beside him, his eyes assessing, approving. The presence of allies reinforced the power I had built. I wasn't alone, and she could feel it. I don't believe this," she whispered, panic sharpening her tone. "You've ruined everything." "No, Amara," I said, each word deliberate. "I've restored balance. I didn't ruin anything. I simply removed the illusions. And in doing so I found my strength. My destiny is mine again. Yours is up to you." Her eyes glimmered with anger and fear. You can't just control everything. I can, I said, the truth of it settling in my chest like iron. Not by force, not by rage, but by strategy, by patience, by knowing my worth and refusing to be underestimated again. She looked at me, searching for a crack in the calm I projected, but there was none. Every hesitation, every attempt at intimidation she made bounced off me. I had transformed heartbreak into power, betrayal into clarity. You'll regret this, she said finally, her voice quivering, though she tried to mask it with arrogance. Maybe, I said, soft enough that only she could hear, but I won't. I am the one in control now. And the lesson you'll carry is that I am not the man you thought I was. Not ever. Her lips trembled and she turned abruptly, striding toward the elevator. I let her leave, watching her panic flicker behind that polished exterior. The satisfaction was tempered, yes, by lingering sadness for what we had lost. But the sorrow was now a tool, not a chain. Riley clapped me on the shoulder. You handled that beautifully. Calm, collected, lethal. I had to, I said. It wasn't just about her. It was about me reclaiming my life, my identity, my power. Julian nodded. The man I see before me isn't just healed, he's evolved. Strategy over emotion, patience over impulsivity. Well done, Ethan. I exhaled slowly, letting the weight of months of betrayal lift just slightly. It feels surreal, I admitted. To turn despair into control, heartbreak into clarity. To finally realize that strength comes from within, and no one can take that without permission. Riley smiled. And now she knows too. Never underestimate the wrong man again. I looked at the city below, lights reflecting the new resolve inside me. I had confronted the betrayal, reclaimed my agency, and proven to both Amara and myself that I was no longer a passive player in my life. For the first time in weeks, I felt complete. Not unfeeling, not cold, but undeniably dominant in my own destiny. And in that quiet, victorious moment, I knew one truth above all. I had survived betrayal, outmaneuvered arrogance, and emerged not broken, but unbreakable. The morning sunlight spilled across my apartment, gentle but insistent. I stared at the engagement ring on my dresser. It glinted, cold and meaningless now. I picked it up, feeling the weight of the past months, the lies, the betrayal, the heartbreak, and then exhaled slowly. Time to let go, I whispered and dropped it into the drawer, closed it with finality. That was it. No more chains, no more reminders. Riley's voice buzzed over the phone. Morning, man. How's the world after everything? I smiled faintly. Quiet. Calm. Surprisingly peaceful. That's good to hear. You finally feel like yourself? I do, I said. It's strange actually. I thought the end would feel empty, bitter. But it doesn't. Feels clean. Like I can breathe again. You earned that peace, he said. You handled her, handled yourself. That's not small. Thanks, I said. Honestly, I couldn't have done it without Maya. She kept me grounded, reminded me to act, not react. She's loyal. I saw the way she moved behind the scenes, keeping tabs without anyone knowing. You're lucky to have people like her, Riley said. I chuckled. Lucky, yeah, I guess. But I also learned I'm stronger than I realized. I didn't need to crumble. I could take the heartbreak, strategize, and reclaim control. That strength, it's mine now. Later, Maya stopped by my office, her presence calm and reassuring. Ethan, she said softly, you look different. You walk lighter. I feel lighter, I admitted. It's strange, right? After months of chaos, the world suddenly feels right. It's not strange, she said. It's you finally free. You've done what most people only dream of, turned betrayal into growth, into power without letting it consume you. I leaned back, smiling at her. I had to. There was no other way. Every plan, every move, every patient step, it was all to reclaim myself. And it worked. She nodded. Amara's facing the consequences. Professionally, socially, people are questioning her judgment, her credibility. You did more than expose her, you restored balance. I know, I said quietly. And while that brings satisfaction, it also brings melancholy. Loss. We can't reclaim what we thought we had, but we can reclaim ourselves. Riley arrived a few hours later, carrying coffee. Look at you, he said, setting the cups down. Sitting here calm, composed. You've become untouchable in a way. I wouldn't say untouchable, I replied, smiling. But I am unbroken. And that feels better than revenge ever could. Riley nodded. Exactly. That's the point. You've risen, Ethan. From ashes, heartbreak, betrayal, you've risen. I gazed out the window at the city skyline, remembering the wedding venue, the proposal, the dreams that had turned into illusions. Then I spoke, almost to myself but loud enough for both of them. I should go see it one last time. Go ahead, Maya said gently. Closure is symbolic. Sometimes the act itself matters more than anything else. When I arrived at the wedding venue, the empty halls echoed memories. I ran my fingers over the polished surface of the reception tables, remembered laughter and promises. Then I stepped outside, letting the breeze carry away the weight in my chest. I raised my hand, glancing at the ring finger that no longer held chains. Goodbye, I whispered. All of it. I don't need it anymore. And I walked away from the venue, each step lighter than the last. Later, Riley clapped me on the shoulder. You feel free, don't you? I do, I said, smiling genuinely. And it's not just relief. It's knowing I survived, I adapted, I grew. The man I am now is the one who commands his life, his emotions, his destiny. Maya joined us, her smile warm. You found balance, Ethan. Strength without cruelty, control without obsession. That's rare. I guess it is, I said. And it feels right. I can love again someday, but this time with clarity. I know who I am, what I deserve, and what I will never tolerate. Riley grinned. And no one will ever underestimate you again. I laughed softly. No, never again. For a moment, I let the silence settle. The city hummed around us. Life went on. Amara faced the consequences, yes, but more importantly, I had faced mine. I had survived heartbreak, betrayal, and humiliation, and I had risen above. I felt the sun warm my face, the wind in my hair, and knew that every step forward was mine to claim. No one could dictate my life, my choices, or my heart again. I was free, strong, and finally, whole. As Riley and Maya fell into easy conversation, I looked ahead, imagining the possibilities. The past was behind me. The future was mine. And with that thought, I smiled and let myself walk forward, into a life reclaimed, unburdened, and entirely my own.